Backtesting is the best way to figure out if a strategy works or not. Professional traders backtest their strategies before risking real money. So if you want to become consistently profitable, you should backtest your strategies also. Hi, my name is Hugh. In this video, you'll learn what backtesting is. I'll show you the complete process of how to backtest. You'll learn the best software to backtest with. I'll show you specific examples of a backtested strategy. And you'll also learn how to improve a backtested strategy so you can get better results. The backtesting process will work in any market and on any time frame. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's start with what backtesting is. So backtesting is basically the process of taking a trading strategy and testing it on historical data. So you're basically gonna scroll back on your chart to whatever period of time you want to backtest. And then in TradingView, you can use something like the replay button. And then you're going to move the chart forward slowly. And then once you see a setup in your trading strategy, then you're going to take the trade and you're going to record the results. And this is very similar to something like what a car manufacturer would do, right? Before they release a new model of car, they're going to test it out to make sure that it works, make sure that there aren't any major issues with it. And they're going to make sure that it's reliable. So it's a similar thing with trading strategies. You want to make sure that they have an edge, and the only way that you can show that they have an edge is to use historical data to test a strategy. All right, now let's get into the specific steps on how to backtest your strategy. The first thing you want to have is a goal. A lot of people will backtest a strategy and they don't have a goal, so they don't know what kind of strategy they want or what kind of return they want or what kind of performance or drawdown they want. So make sure you set your goals in your strategy. Do you want to make a certain percentage a month, a certain percentage a year, a certain percentage over 5 years? And make sure to match your goals to the lifestyle you want to live and the way that you want to trade. A lot of traders come into trading thinking they are going to be day traders and they're going to make an X amount of money every single day, when in reality they are probably better swing traders and they're better off for shooting for a certain average percentage per month. So just think about those things. Think about how much you actually want to trade and set a realistic return based on that. Next, create your trading plan. So this has to be a written trading plan with the rules of your strategy. And there are certain discretionary elements to some trading strategies. So write down those rules the best you can also, and put that into one document, detail everything in that document so that when it comes time to take a trade, you know exactly what to do. The next thing to look at is what kind of software you're going to use to backtest. There's a lot of backtesting software out there. I'll get into some specific solutions in a little bit, but remember that using software will make your job much easier, especially if you can track the stats with that software. And then after you run a backtest, you're going to want to analyze your results, obviously, see if it meets your goals, see if there's a way that you could maybe make it better. Look at some of the stats like drawdown. Can you handle the drawdown? Yeah, maybe a trading strategy made 500%, but could you handle like a 90% drawdown, right? So those are the things that you're going to have to look at and make sure that you can trade that strategy and it will fit with your personality. And finally, once you're done analyzing your results, you can look for ways to possibly improve your strategy. Can you make it better? Can you do some tweaks to the entry, to the exit? Maybe the profit target could be bigger, things like that. And just play with it and see if there are any ways that you can make the strategy better and fit your goals. If your strategy tested out well and you're ready to move on to live trading, then that's great. Usually you're gonna have to do some improvements on a strategy. Rarely does it work the first time, but if it does, or if you did some improvements and it did work with the improvements, then you can move on to demo or trading a small live account. And this is because not all systems that work in backtesting are going to work in live trading. There may have been some assumptions that you made in backtesting that don't translate over to live trading. That's why it's important to at least test the strategy out for a little bit, either in a demo account or a small live account. Now let's take a look at the types of backtesting. So there are basically two types of backtesting: automated backtesting and manual backtesting. So in automated backtesting, you're either going to write a computer program or you're going to use a program builder that will create an automated trading strategy. Either way, the computer is going to trade 100% for you, entries, exits, and everything. With manual backtesting, you're going to actually manually enter each trade just like you would if you were live trading. And there's a little gray area in between where you can do some semi-automated backtesting, but those are the main two camps. And a lot of people think that in order to backtest, you have to have an automated strategy or you have to know how to code, and that's simply not true. You can do 100% manual backtesting, and that's great, and that works. Sure, it's a little bit slower, but there are some strategies that can't be put into an automated trading strategy. So I believe that it's best to start off with manual backtesting because that's something that everybody can do. And then if you want to move into more automated solutions, you can do that. But a lot of people haven't studied programming and they don't know how to code. So starting with manual backtesting is easier. They can get results right away. And then if they want to learn how to code, or if they want to apply their coding skills, then they can get into automated backtesting. Now let's take a look at creating your trading plan. So your trading plan is basically going to be all of the elements of your trading system, when you should enter a trade, where you're going to set your take loss and stop loss and take profit, the indicators you're going to use along with the settings of the indicators, when to manage your trade. Are you going to move the stop loss to break even? Are you going to trail your stop loss down? Things like that. And then finally, your exit criteria. How are you going to exit the trade? Where's your stop loss? Where's your take profit? What indicators have to line up in order for you to exit the trade? Stuff like that. Now let's get into the software. There are a lot of solutions out there. The first one is MetaTrader. This one is great because it's free. It's more for backtesting automated strategies, although you can use it as a manual backtester, but you're going to have to keep a separate spreadsheet for that. One I highly recommend is Naked Markets. I think it's the best backtesting software out there because you can go from full manual, partially automated, full automated, and it allows you to automate certain parts of the backtesting to speed things up without going full automated. So I think it's a great solution. It also gives you a lot of detailed stats that you won't get in other software packages. And many times with those other packages, you have to export the data from the software into Excel and then do your own analysis. So Naked Markets has that already built in, and I really like Naked Markets. I highly recommend checking it out. You can check out this video if you want to learn more about Naked Markets. Next one is TradingView. TradingView, in my opinion, is not great for backtesting. It's fantastic for charting and trading. But with TradingView, you can use the replay button, and that can help. But again, like with MetaTrader, TradingView is more built for automated backtesting. So they have an automated backtester. But if you want to do manual backtesting, you're going to have to keep your own spreadsheet and your own stats. One thing with the TradingView automated backtesting that I don't like is in some markets, they don't have enough data. So you have to be aware of that. They're only going to give you a certain amount of data. So be aware when you're backtesting in TradingView. Next is Forex Tester. I used to use Forex Tester a lot, but they haven't really improved over, like version 2, I think is kind of where they hit their peak, and now it's just kind of like making small improvements. But it's still a solid piece of software, so if you want to check that out, check it out. In my opinion, it's best for testing manual strategies. It does have an automated tester in there, but it's very similar to MetaTrader, so I don't see why you just wouldn't use MetaTrader to begin with. But Forex Tester has been around for a long time, and it's a really solid piece of software, so check that out also. NinjaTrader, I haven't backtested in NinjaTrader. I know some professional traders that use NinjaTrader. I just think it's a horrible interface, but it works. You know, it does work. You just have to learn the little quirks of it, but that's something you could use. AmiBroker is fantastic. AmiBroker is more for backtesting stock trading strategies. I have AmiBroker. I've been using it a little bit, but I haven't really gotten too deep into it. But if you're trading stocks and you need to generate signals on the stocks and you need to scan a whole universe of stocks, then AmiBroker is fantastic. Next is Soft4FX, and this is a really inexpensive software. It plugs into MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5, and it turns MetaTrader 4 and 5 into a backtesting software. And it's pretty good at that, but again, it is a low cost thing, so it's not going to be super feature rich. But it does work. So if you only want to spend, I think it's $150 now or something like that, something on the low end, and it plugs directly into MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. So that's an option if you want to use it. I don't recommend it. I think you're better off spending a couple $100 more and going with Naked Markets instead of Soft4FX, but that could be a solution for you. And finally, we have multi-charts. I've never used multi-charts, but a lot of people do use it for backtesting. It's mostly automated backtesting, so keep that in mind, but that's also a solution you can check out. All right, if you want links to the software that I recommend, that's provided in the description below. Now let's get into the actual process of backtesting. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. One way, like I mentioned, is you could use something like MetaTrader or some sort of free charting platform. You could use a spreadsheet to keep track of your trades. And if you want a spreadsheet, I'll post one here. But if you really want to speed things up, you should use dedicated backtesting software. And this is Naked Markets. This is my favorite backtesting software. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test a simple system that uses a moving average crossover. All right, so I'm going to set my rules. Step number 1 is always to have rules for your trading strategy. So this trading strategy is going to have the 200 simple moving average, the 50 simple moving average. I'm going to enter in the direction of a crossover. The stop loss is going to be at the 200 simple moving average. And I'm going to exit when the crossover happens in the opposite direction. So here's how this works. I've added the indicators to my chart. So I'm going to hit the play button here. And I'm going to let the chart scroll forward until the 200 simple moving average shows up. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to look for a crossover. There we go. And the good thing about naked markets is that they have a moving average crossover indicator. So I think you can see here there's an arrow pointing down. So that's a bearish signal. I'll zoom in on that a little bit. Right, so I want to go short right there. So according to my rules, I'm going to go short here. And then I'm going to place the stop loss at the 200, or maybe just a little bit above the 200 simple moving average. There we go. And I'm going to risk 1% per trade. So let's go. Okay, stopped out immediately. That's okay. All right, there's another signal. So there's the indicator. Okay, so I'm going to buy there. Stop loss is going to go down here. Risking 1%. Yep. Okay, and go. Okay, so that's working out better. Just waiting for the crossover in the opposite direction now. Okay, there we go. And I'm moving the chart forward really quickly just because this is an example and I want to speed up the video, but in real life you should probably make it slower so that you don't miss these signals. But this is a straightforward trading strategy, so missing the signals is not a big deal with this one. But with other strategies, you should probably slow it down so that you don't overshoot it, so you don't have any future information about the trade. All right, so I'm going to sell here. I'm going to put a stop loss up here. And then I'm going to let that go, see what happens. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. Oh, I forgot to, okay, I forgot to close the trade here. That's why it triggered down there. Okay, so I'm going to close this other trade out, which made about 4.5%. All right, now let's go forward here. And that's the good thing about backtesting. You can back up and correct your mistakes if you have any. All right, waiting for the next crossover. Okay, so this trade would have been open for a while. And you can test this on any time frame. You don't have to do the daily like I did here. You can do the 1 hour, whatever, 5 minute, and you could really create more trades out of it. But this is just the example I'm using. So crossover should happen soon. There we go. Nailed it. Okay, so that is going to get closed. And then I'm going to open a long here. Stop loss is going to be down here. And we'll go for one more trade. All right, very nice. So again, this trade is going to be open for a little while, but it is picking up some pretty good profits. So I'm going to let it keep going. And this will be the last example, so it's okay if it's a little bit long. Wow, okay, this one is really long. But it is profitable. Let's see where the profits end though. Okay, there. Now it looks like it's going to break down, so I'm just going to go forward, and there we go. That's the closing signal, and that's it for this back test, at least for this example. So the next thing you want to do is look at your stats. how did this perform? Now, I didn't do a complete backtest here, so I would want to do a complete backtest. Then I'll look at the stats. So I'll save this backtest first, and then I'll go into the statistics, stat center. I will import it from a backtest, and the backtest is golden, def, euro, US dollar. Okay, and there you go. That's the statistics on it. The first year it lost 1%, and then after that it was profitable. But again, this was just an example, so you want to backtest this on as much historical data as possible to see how this would have performed over 5, 10, 15 years. So some other data you can get in here is some overall stats. You can get like Sharpe ratios and daily averages and things like that. You can get the symbol analysis. There was only one symbol in this test, but you could test multiple symbols at the same time if you wanted to. Timing analysis, you can see where the winners and losers were in terms of month, day, and hour. And then you can see the duration of the trades. You can see the risk analysis and the trades list. And then you can do a Monte Carlo simulation on the data. Now, if you want to get my complete backtesting course, you can check the link in the description below, and that will give you the full program on how to do a complete backtest along with some trading system examples. So this is where this type of software is really useful because it gives you the statistics and you don't have to go into Excel and make them yourself. So now that you know how to backtest a strategy and you know how to look at the statistics on it, now let's get into optimization. All right, once you're done with the backtest and you have some stats, now it's time to look at some potential optimizations. One thing you can do is set the stop loss further away or closer. A lot of traders will tend to set the stop loss too close and they'll get stopped out often. So if you move the stop loss a little further away, that will give the market some room to move and you're more likely to hit your profit target. Another potential optimization is to set a bigger profit target. So you'll win less often, but your winners will be bigger. So sometimes those bigger winners can offset your losers, and that can be a great way to potentially optimize your strategy. Then you can also trail your stop loss. I have some videos about the trailing R or the R multiple trailing stop loss, and you can use things like the PSAR or the other indicators that will allow you to trail your stop loss. You can also use simple support and resistance. That's a great way to do it. So you could do that. And then another thing you can do is you can take one strategy but have two different sets of settings. So this might not make sense at first, but when you actually get into it and you realize that if I use this one set of rules and then a slightly different set of rules but a very similar system, sometimes they will compensate for each other. So if this system has a loss, sometimes this system will have a win, and vice versa. So that can be a great way to smooth out your profit and loss curve and make more consistent profits. All right, so that's how you backtest a trading strategy. If you want a complete guide on how to do the entire process, check out my backtesting program that's going to be coming out soon. That will lay out all of the steps. It will give you some strategies to backtest along with complete results. And it will show you some of the tricks and some of the things to avoid when backtesting so you can become a master backtester and find profitable trading strategies. All right, if you like that video, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you want to get more videos like this about trading strategies and backtesting, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications. Thanks for watching, and I hope your trading is going well.